Nellie here. Happy Wednesday. I hope you're having a fantastic day. And I know it might be Thursday for some of you. So I wanted to hop on and go live. Anytime we do the Transition Tuesday, I always go in and look at what the transitions are, and then I go and I try them on my mat because they look so fun. And I am always about trying to learn and experiment with different transitions, as I'm sure you are. So while I was doing them, I'm like, it'd just probably be great if I could go live and just do this with everyone in the group. Okay, so John, Eve, and Nicola had posted some really great transitions. So let's go through what they had posted. John had talked about a counter pose to a forward fold. So let me back up. And our pose for this week, Transition Tuesday, was extended mountain. So arms overhead. You can even take a slight back bend, just reaching the arms up high. And he had talked about a counter pose to like a forward fold, or maybe you're even going through your chaturanga, up dog, down dog, and then maybe walking your hands back to rise up for your extended mountain pose. So awesome transition. Thank you, John, for sharing that. And then Eve wrote this really awesome sequence. Let me see if I can remember what she did, because it was pretty cool. So she started here in extended mountain, fold forward, bend through your knees, grab onto the back of your legs here, just like you would be in a child's pose, holding onto your legs. Then take your half lift, fold forward, rise up to standing, and I think she did a side bend in there. Then into chair pose, she did a twist to the right and to the left, and then rose up to extended mountain again. So awesome transitions, great way to work in that extended mountain. Thank you, Eve. All right, and then we had Nicola, who said forward fold ragdoll to extended mountain, a side stretch step back to warrior one. So if you're here in a forward fold, maybe just like a ragdoll, roll up to extended mountain, and I think she even said a side stretch too in there, and then step back to warrior one. So awesome, awesome, awesome. Such great transitions. Thank you, John, Eve, and Nicola, for sharing your transitions for this week's Transition Tuesday. Totally love them with the extended mountain pose. So those were the ones that were shared in the post. You can go back and read through them if you're the type of person who needs, like some writing to just kind of let it sink in. And now I'll demonstrate some of my favorite ones that I do. Okay, so in extended mountain, Eve also did this. I like to go into chair pose, then twist to one side, and then rather than just twist right to the other side, I like to give the legs a break. So I'll twist to one side, rise up, extended mountain, sink low, twist to the other side, rise back up, and then maybe do a forward fold. So something great that you can do like in a sun salutation, just to give it a little bit more flair rather than just, coming back and forward like your traditional sun salutation. You could throw that in the mix. Some other things I like to do is with arms. So if you're thinking of just Tadasana and you have your arms overhead in extended mountain, you could do a wrap. So one hand can reach over in the front, other hand comes behind to hold your hips forward, twist, come through center, reach high, extended mountain, wrap and twist to the other side. So you could just do this as a nice warm-up at the beginning of class. Maybe you have your students start standing, and this is a great way to connect breath with movement. Another one I like to do is an eagle pose. So if you have your students in eagle pose, then you're really constricting off here and you're closing off. Maybe even have your students come like all the way down in eagle pose, and then just to come up and big stretch into extended mountain. That feels so nice. And then you can go right into the other side for eagle pose. Rise up, big stretch, extended mountain, and then maybe hands together at heart center. So I like to do that. It's a great way to just kind of neutralize in between poses you're doing. So if you really think of like any standing balance pose, that's a great offset you can do in between sides. Now, one really fun transition, and you'll have to kind of gauge your target audience to see if this is something they'd like to do. But this is one of my favorites to do, is to start here in mountain, extended mountain, come all the way down to your bottom, roll back, plow pose, come forward and all the way up to extended mountain. So that is a great way to just build a lot of heat and energy in a class. So maybe after your sun salutations, you do a few of those as an energizer before you move into like a standing series where you're holding the poses for a little bit longer. Some other areas where I like to use extended mountain. So if I have my students in a yogi squat and I really want to do a bold transition, then I'll have my students press into their feet, shoot all the way up, reach fingertips up to the sky, extended mountain. So it's kind of like a variation because you have your feet wide based on where they are in your yogi squat, but it feels so awesome to just be like, whoo, shooting right up to the sky. I feel like a rocket, like, woo, coming straight up to the sky, and then you could come right back down into your yogi squat. So I love, love, love that transition. Let me know what you think. Let me see if there are any comments coming in. Hi, Nelly. Oh, thanks, Numai. So good to see you on. So one other transition you could really use extended mountain in is just going into a crescent lunge. You know, if you're here in a crescent lunge, then maybe you keep your arms up high and just stand right up into extended mountain. Slide the other leg back, come into your crescent lunge, and then come right back up into extended mountain. I feel like you could really use extended mountain in a lot of different areas because it's just such a good like neutralizing pose. Just to give you a nice visual of what those transitions were, thank you so much to those of you who added your comments in there. All right, I hope you have a fantastic day or a fantastic evening wherever you are. Love and light. Bye.